Hey guys, welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror. I'm Ashley Sledge, and let's talk horror. Well, gateway horror. Today I'm going to do my review on Hocus Pocus. Yes, if you know me, you know that I have a slight obsession with this movie. And I could go on and on and on about why this movie means so much to me. But really, it's just, I can remember the first time I watched it. I was 5 years old. I was in my grandma's living room. It came out on Disney. My grandma and my grandpa, they were making popcorn balls, and I can just feel the feeling of just like warmth and love and the smell of popcorn being made. And it's just comforting. This is comforting for me. And I've watched this movie 100,000 times in my lifetime. And every time I put it on, I still get that feeling of comfort. I don't understand why it bombed in the box office in 93, but I am happy that it now has its cult following. So I'm ready to talk about some of the positives. So some of the positives, the score is so beautifully written by John Debney. The beginning sequence where Sarah is flying over the water and you just hear that beautiful score. It gets me in the feels every time I watch this movie. Also, the soundtrack, I love when they are in town hall and they're partying and then they start singing I Put a Spell on You. It gets me so amped. And honestly, I think it's the best cover I've heard of I Put a Spell on You. I just love how, all the parents, they're dancing. Dance, dance until you die. And the kids are just trying to get out of there. Like, don't listen to them. Love that. Also, when Sarah sings her Come Little Children song, love that. I sing it all the time, and it's so beautiful but so evil at the same time if you think about it, because she's luring all these kids in. But just the way she sings it, and I love it. It's a beautiful song. The cinematography, also so beautiful. The village where Zachary and Emily lived, it's just the way it's darker, and then you go to present day and then it's lighter, but you still get the fall feeling of the leaves, how they're changing, and it just feels so Halloween, and I love that about this movie. Also, you gotta love Max and Danny's house, just where it's set. It honestly, they make it look like it's this small town in Salem when Max is riding his bike throughout the town, and it seems like it's all just right there, it's all really close. Well, it's really not that close, and just the illusion that they make, to make it look like it's a small town is amazing. They're really actually pretty far apart, all these places, and not to brag, but I got to visit some of those places, and I was like a little kid in a candy store. Like, I was in love. So excited the entire time. So some of the practical effects are really good, like when Max, he's lighting the black flame candle and all the lights start to go out, and then the floorboards are moving and you see that eerie green light from underneath the cabin. You're like, oh no, what did you do, Max? You weren't supposed to light that black flame candle, dude. You're a virgin. And then you get the question, what's a virgin? We'll talk about that later. Or how he looks like he's alive. He's Winnie's pet, and he just seemed just the way that he acts with her, and it's just like he really is a pet. It looks really awesome. The witches, how they're flying on their brooms, looks great. And the way they did it practically is really awesome. Or even how Winnie, when she is at the end, is turning to stone, and she's saying, "Boog," and then she just turns to stone. I think that looks really awesome. The cast, amazing. Such great character development. You honestly care about them all. Max and Danny and Allison and Binks. And honestly, you love the witches too, but you love them all. I love how Danny gets so attached to Binks, and how when he gets ran over, she's crying like, Binks, and she doesn't know that he can't die. And honestly, it gets me teary-eyed every time. I have a little black cat named Binks, and if when you have a pet, it's like your family. You're so badly hoping that Max and Allison get together. They're so cute together, and they're a good team, and really likes her a lot, and you want them to get together so badly. And when they finally go back to his house and she's like, oh no, I gotta go home, and they're sitting there and she's like, I need to take some salt, and she's sitting there and reading it, and you get this.
It says form a circle of salt to protect from zombies, witches, and old boyfriends.
Yeah, and what about new boyfriends?
You're rooting for them. You wanted them to kiss so badly. And Max, he was my first crush. Cat, I told him at a con, and he kicked Ken out of the picture of him and I, and it was funny. He's just a really nice guy. Then you have Danny and Max's relationship. It feels really real. The sister and brother bond that they have. You can tell that they love each other, but at the same time, Max gets super annoyed with Danny. He doesn't want to take her trick-or-treating, and she says, it doesn't matter what you say, Max, you're taking me. And he walks up his little stairs, and he sits there and crosses his arms. You want to bet? And you hear her scream, Mom! And then the next clip, they're going trick-or-treating. He's got to take her. You got to listen to your mom. They're going partying. You're taking your sister trick-or-treating. And then when they finally find Allison's mansion, her beautiful mansion that she lives in, and he wants to go to the witches museum, and she doesn't want to go at all. You know, she's not into it. And he's like, okay, I'll do whatever you want. That's another thing. It's something a big brother would do, to bribe his little sister because he wants to go hang out with this girl. And she's like, okay, well, we're gonna have, matching costumes as Peter Pan and Wendy, and you have to wear the tights. And he thinks about it for a second, like, oh no. But he likes Allison that much, he's definitely gonna do it. Or even when she says this,
Max likes her yabos. In fact, he loves them.
Just his face there is so priceless. Like, he's in shock that she's saying this, and he so badly wants to be like, be quiet, but he doesn't want to look like a jerk in front of Allison. It's so funny. I love that. It's something that my daughter would do to my son, and I think that's why it makes me laugh even more now. Speaking of laughing, the comedy in this, it's really good. Some of it's more adult humor, but I feel like it's very mild, especially to what kids see and, hear nowadays. I didn't know what a virgin was until I was older. That completely went over my head. I had no idea. Or even like when the witches are at the bus stop, and when he says, we desire children, and the bus driver says,
hey, it may take me a couple of tries, but I don't think that'd be a problem.
I didn't get it back then. When I got a little older, I was like, oh, that's what that meant. I didn't get it at all. Also, the three witches together, they're amazing. This is another one, they could not have had a better cast for this. They're just, the way they vibe together is so good. I just love how Winnie, she's always so irritated with her sisters.
Dost thou comprehend?
Well, you explained it beautifully, Winnie. The way you sort of started out with the adventure part, and then you sort of slowly...
Explain what?
Or when they're doing their calming circle to try to calm her down, and she's like, I am calm. And Mary's like, oh, sister, thou not being honest with theyselves? And she's like, So funny. I just love the three of them together. Or when she's like, why was I cursed with such idiot sisters? And Sarah's like, you just got lucky, I guess. I love the three of them together. They're so amazing. We also have to talk about Billy Butcherson. Doug Jones, I also got to meet him in person, and he's a really nice guy. And I'm sure that he made the set really fun. He just seems like a really fun guy. But he scared me as a kid. Like, I thought he was a bad guy for a long time. And then until he rips open his mouth and he says this.
Wench. Trollop, you buck-toothed, mop-riding firefly from hell.
It's just funny how Max is like, oh, like, I don't care what you say, but breathe that way. Billy, you think he's a bad guy, but really he's sick of Winnie shit too. And he just, he wants to help these kids, get rid of them. So I really like Billy Butcherson as well. This movie, it's a Disney movie, but it's definitely gateway horror. You actually watch these witches get hung. You see their feet hanging. creepy. They are witches that are literally trying to take these children's souls for them to become beautiful again. It's very horror adjacent, and I think that's why I loved it so much as a kid. So now I'm going to get to the negatives. My final thoughts are this movie, it's fun. There's so much fun to be had with it. I've watched it every Halloween since I was a kid, and now I make my kids watch it with me. We go trick-or-treating, we get all our candy, and we make popcorn, and we sit down, and for that 1 hour and 36 minutes before it's bedtime, we sit there together as a family. And my hopes is that one day my kids will keep this tradition alive, and they'll do that with their kids, and they'll put it on and they'll feel the same peace and the same comfort and the same, when it was simpler, when they were just kids also, and it'll be nostalgic for them too. So my score is 10 out of 10. I can't think of a negative, as you've seen. There's no negatives for me. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. The links are down in the description. And until next time, guys, keep talking horror. Stay who you are. And we'll see you guys soon.